I'm sure you've heard the news. Firestorm in the White House. Trump versus Zelensky, the minerals deal showdown.
Volodymyr, let's be real. You need American business. Without our support, your economy will struggle. You know it, I know it. We've got the companies, the money, the tech. You have the minerals. The deal's a no-brainer. Think about the future of Ukraine. Imagine the prosperity, the jobs, the growth. This is an opportunity you can't afford to miss. We're talking about a partnership that could redefine your country's place in the world. We can bring in the best minds, the best technology, and the best practices. Your resources combined with our expertise could make Ukraine a powerhouse, but you have to be willing to take that step. You have to be willing to make the hard choices.
Mr. President, Ukraine values its independence. We have fought hard for it, and we will not compromise it for economic gain. Strategic resources are not just business. We must consider security, our alliances, the EU, NATO. These are not just names on a paper. They represent our sovereignty, our freedom, and our future. Our alliances are built on trust and mutual respect. We cannot simply abandon them for a deal, no matter how lucrative it may seem. Our people have endured too much to see our independence traded away. We must think about the long-term implications, not just the immediate benefits. Security, stability, and our place in the international community are at stake.
NATO? Come on, they never do anything for you. They talk a big game, but when it comes down to it, they're all talk and no action. They wouldn't even send enough weapons last time. You want protection? Stick with me. I've got the power, the influence, and the resources to keep you safe. You know that. Look at what I've done already. I held off Putin before. You think Biden did that? You think Europe did that? No, it was me. I've got the track record to prove it. You want real security? You want real protection? Then you need to be on my side. This is your chance to make a smart move, Volodymyr. Don't let it slip away.
Ukraine is not for sale, and we will not be pressured. Our sovereignty is not a bargaining chip. If this deal is conditional on weakening our ties with Europe, then there is no deal. We will find other ways to grow our economy, other partners who respect our independence. We will not be bullied into submission. We have faced greater threats and have come out stronger. This is no different. We will stand firm in our principles and our alliances. We will not compromise our values for short-term gains. Our future depends on the choices we make today, and we choose to stand with our allies, to uphold our independence, and to build a future on our terms.
You wouldn't even be sitting here if it weren't for me, you know that, right? I've been your biggest supporter, I've put my neck on the line for you, and this is how you repay me? By turning down a deal that could change everything for you? You're making a mistake, a big one. I don't have to help Ukraine, you know. There are plenty of other countries that would love what I'm offering. They'd jump at the chance to partner with us. But I chose you because I believed in your vision for Ukraine. Don't throw that away. Don't let pride get in the way of progress. This is your chance to make history.
Ukraine stands on principle. We will partner, but not under threats. We will not be coerced into making decisions that go against our values and our interests. We appreciate your support, but it must be on terms that respect our sovereignty and our alliances. We will not be swayed by intimidation or pressure.
You're making a mistake, a big one. You think you can stand alone? You think Europe will save you? They're too busy with their own problems. You need me, Volodymyr. You need what I can offer. Don't be foolish. Don't let this opportunity slip through your fingers. This is your chance to secure a future for Ukraine. I don't have to help Ukraine, you know. There are plenty of other countries that would love what I'm offering. They'd jump at the chance to partner with us. But I chose you because I believed in your vision for Ukraine. Don't throw that away. Don't let pride get in the way of progress. This is your chance to make history. Great meeting. Tremendous. Ukraine has a lot of opportunities if they make the right choices. We discussed various strategies and potential collaborations that could benefit both nations. The future looks promising, but it all depends on the decisions made in the coming weeks.
Muttering to an aide in Ukrainian, "That man thinks he owns the world. His arrogance is astounding. We need to be cautious and strategic in our next steps. This is a critical moment for our country.
The atmosphere is tense as both leaders exit the room. The implications of this meeting could be far-reaching. Journalists are eager to report on the outcomes, and the world watches closely. The stakes are high, and the decisions made here could shape international relations for years to come. As the dust settles from the high-stakes meeting, let's delve deeper into the minerals deal and its potential global implications. The world's eyes are on the rich mineral deposits in Ukraine, resources that could redefine energy markets and technological advancements. Ukraine holds vast reserves of critical minerals like lithium, cobalt, and rare earth elements, essential components for batteries, electronics, and renewable energy technologies. Securing these resources is not just an economic win, but a strategic move that could shift the balance of power in the global energy landscape. For the United States, gaining access to these minerals means reducing dependence on other global suppliers, particularly China, who currently dominates the market. This could lead to a resurgence in American manufacturing and technological innovation, bolstering its position as a global leader. On the other hand, Ukraine stands to gain significant economic growth and increased geopolitical leverage. However, the deal comes with risks. Aligning too closely with the U.S. might strain relationships with neighboring countries and other global powers, potentially making Ukraine a focal point of international tensions. Moreover, environmental concerns loom large. The extraction and processing of these minerals could have severe ecological impacts, sparking debates about sustainable practices and ethical sourcing. In summary, this minerals deal is more than just a trade agreement. It's a strategic maneuver with far-reaching consequences. It could alter the dynamics of international relations, influence global markets, and even shape the future of technological advancements. As the world watches, the decisions made in the coming weeks will reverberate across continents, affecting economies, environments, and geopolitical alliances. The stakes have never been higher. As we delve deeper into the minerals deal, it's crucial to consider the perspectives of experts who have been closely monitoring these developments. Their insights provide valuable context on what this agreement could mean for the global stage. Dr. Emily Carter, an energy policy analyst at the Global Resources Institute, shares her thoughts. This deal is a game changer. If successful, it could significantly reduce the U.S. dependence on Chinese mineral imports, which is vital for national security and technological innovation. However, the environmental costs cannot be ignored. Sustainable extraction practices must be prioritized to avoid long-term ecological damage. Next, we hear from Dr. Ivan Petrov, a geopolitical strategist from the Eurasian Policy Center. Ukraine's alignment with the U.S. through this minerals deal could strain its relationships with neighboring countries, particularly Russia. This could lead to increased geopolitical tensions in the region. On the flip side, Ukraine's economy could see a substantial boost, which might help stabilize the country politically and economically. Professor Linda Greenfield, an expert in international trade from Harvard University, adds, "The deal has the potential to reshape global supply chains. By diversifying sources of critical minerals, it could lead to more competitive markets and drive innovation. However, the success of this deal hinges on transparent and fair agreements, ensuring that both parties benefit equally." Finally, we hear from environmental advocate John Matthews. While the economic and strategic benefits are clear, we must not overlook the environmental impact. The extraction of these minerals poses significant risks to local ecosystems. It's imperative that both nations commit to stringent environmental safeguards to mitigate these effects. These expert opinions highlight the multifaceted nature of the minerals deal. From economic and geopolitical implications to environmental concerns, the outcomes of this agreement will be complex and far-reaching. As the negotiations progress, the world watches closely. aware that the decisions made today will shape the future of international relations, economic stability, and environmental sustainability. To fully grasp the significance of the current minerals deal, it's essential to understand the historical backdrop of U.S.-Ukraine relations. The diplomatic ties between the United States and Ukraine have been evolving since Ukraine gained independence from the Soviet Union in 1991. Over the past 3 decades, these relations have seen numerous highs and lows, shaped by geopolitical shifts and mutual interests. In the early 1990s, the United States was one of the first countries to recognize Ukraine's independence, establishing formal diplomatic relations. This was a period marked by significant U.S. support for Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity, especially during the tumultuous post-Soviet transition. Economic aid and technical assistance from the U.S. played a crucial role in helping Ukraine stabilize its economy and develop democratic institutions. Fast forward to 2014, the annexation of Crimea by Russia and the subsequent conflict in eastern Ukraine marked a turning point. The U.S. responded with a robust package of sanctions against Russia and increased military aid to Ukraine. This period underscored the strategic importance of Ukraine as a buffer state between Western Europe and Russia. One notable deal in recent history was the 2017 U.S.-Ukraine Defense Cooperation Agreement, which significantly bolstered Ukraine's defense capabilities with advanced weaponry and training. This deal demonstrated the deepening military collaboration between the two nations, aimed at enhancing regional security. In the realm of energy, the U.S. has been instrumental in helping Ukraine diversify its energy sources, reducing its dependence on Russian gas. The 2018 agreement to supply U.S. liquefied natural gas, LNG, to Ukraine was a strategic move to counter Russian energy influence in Europe. These historical milestones set the stage for the current minerals deal, which is not just a commercial agreement, but a continuation of a long-standing strategic partnership. As both nations navigate this new chapter, the lessons from past collaborations and conflicts will undoubtedly shape their approach. Understanding this historical context provides a clearer picture of the stakes involved and the potential impact of the minerals deal on the future of U.S.-Ukraine relations. As we look ahead, the potential impacts of the minerals deal between the U.S. and Ukraine could usher in a new era of geopolitical dynamics. If the deal goes through, several key scenarios could unfold. First, the economic benefits for both nations could be substantial. Ukraine's economy could receive a significant boost from increased investments and technology transfers, fostering growth in its mining sector. This, in turn, could create thousands of jobs, stabilize the region, and reduce the country's dependence on Russian resources. For the United States, securing a reliable supply of critical minerals would be a strategic win. These minerals are essential for advanced technologies, including renewable energy, electric vehicles, and defense systems. By diversifying its supply chain, the U.S. could reduce its vulnerability to supply disruptions and strengthen its industrial base. On the geopolitical front, a successful minerals deal could enhance the strategic partnership between the two nations. This collaboration could serve as a counterbalance to Russian influence in Eastern Europe, reinforcing Ukraine's sovereignty and security. It could also set a precedent for future cooperation in other strategic areas, such as cybersecurity and defense. However, the deal could also provoke reactions from other global players. Russia, feeling cornered, might intensify its efforts to destabilize the region, leading to heightened tensions. China, another major player in the global minerals market, could view this deal as a threat to its economic interests and respond by seeking new alliances or ramping up its own investments in resource-rich regions. In the best-case scenario, the deal could pave the way for increased global cooperation in the sustainable extraction and use of critical minerals. It could lead to the development of new international standards and frameworks, promoting environmental responsibility and ethical sourcing practices. Ultimately, the success of this deal hinges on the ability of both nations to navigate the complex web of economic, political, and environmental factors. If managed wisely, it could mark the beginning of a transformative chapter in U.S.-Ukraine relations and global geopolitics. As we await the final outcome, one thing is clear. The stakes are incredibly high, and the world will be watching closely. As the news of the minerals deal between the U.S. and Ukraine spreads, reactions from world leaders begin to pour in, painting a complex picture of global perspectives and concerns. Visual silhouettes of various world leaders, animated with subtle movements to indicate speaking. Voiceover. From the Kremlin, President Vladimir Putin expresses his discontent, warning that the deal could destabilize the region and exacerbate tensions. Visual silhouette of Putin with a stern expression. Voiceover. In a statement, he emphasizes Russia's historical ties with Ukraine and vows to protect its interests in Eastern Europe. Voiceover. Meanwhile, in Beijing, President Xi Jinping views the deal as a strategic maneuver by the U.S. to counter China's influence. Visual. Silhouette of Xi Jinping with a contemplative pose. Voiceover. He calls for increased cooperation among BRICS nations to safeguard their economic interests and asserts that China will continue to seek new resource partnerships globally. Voiceover. Across the Atlantic, European leaders are divided. Visual silhouettes of Scholz and Macron with contrasting expressions. Voiceover. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz welcomes the deal, seeing it as a step towards energy independence for Europe and a move that could strengthen the EU's strategic position. Voiceover. However, French President Emmanuel Macron voices concerns about potential escalations in regional conflicts and the need for a balanced approach. Voiceover. In Ottawa, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau highlights the importance of ethical sourcing and environmental responsibility. Visual. Silhouette of Trudeau with a thoughtful expression. Voiceover. He urges both nations to adhere to international standards and work towards sustainable development. Voiceover. From the UK, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak underscores the geopolitical implications. Visual silhouette of Sunak with a determined look. Voiceover. He stresses the need for unity among Western allies and calls for a coordinated response to counter any aggressive moves by Russia or China. Voiceover. These varied reactions underscore the global significance of the minerals deal. Visual montage of world leader silhouettes fading into a world map, highlighting geopolitical hotspots. Voiceover. As world leaders weigh in, it becomes evident that this agreement is more than just an economic transaction. It's a pivotal moment in international diplomacy, with far-reaching consequences. Voiceover. In the coming months, the true impact of this deal will unfold, shaped by the actions and reactions of these global players. Visual world map transitions to a neutral background, setting the stage for the closing titles. Voiceover. The intricate dance of diplomacy continues, with the world watching and waiting. As the dust begins to settle on the minerals deal between the U.S. and Ukraine, it's time to reflect on the key points and consider the future outlook. Visual. A montage of key moments from the previous scenes, highlighting significant interactions and reactions. Voiceover. The minerals deal, brokered by former President Trump and President Zelensky, has sparked intense global reactions, revealing the intricate web of international relations and power dynamics. Visual highlighted text on screen summarizing the deal's main elements. Voiceover. At its core, the agreement aims to secure critical mineral resources for the U.S. while providing economic support to Ukraine. This strategic move is seen by many as a counterbalance to China's growing influence in the global market. Visual world map with key players highlighted: US, Ukraine, Russia, China, EU. Voiceover. World leaders have weighed in, each with their own perspectives and concerns. From Russia's stern warnings to China's strategic countermeasures and the divided opinions within Europe, the deal has become a focal point in the geopolitical landscape. Visual silhouettes of world leaders with brief summary text beside each. Voiceover. Expert opinions have shed light on the potential outcomes ranging from economic benefits to environmental impacts and the broader implications for international diplomacy. Visual expert silhouettes with key quotes or insights displayed. Voiceover. Historically, U.S.-Ukraine relations have seen their share of challenges and opportunities. This deal marks a significant chapter in their ongoing partnership, with the potential to redefine their roles on the global stage. Visual timeline of U.S.-Ukraine. Relations with key milestones highlighted. Voiceover. Looking ahead, the speculative future of this deal is fraught with uncertainty. Will it lead to strengthened alliances and economic growth, or will it exacerbate existing tensions and conflicts? Visual. A split screen showing two possible futures, one of cooperation, the other of conflict. Voiceover. As the world watches, the actions taken by global leaders in response to this deal will shape the future of international relations. The stakes are high, and the outcomes are unpredictable. Visual world map with tension points highlighted, transitioning to a neutral background. Voiceover. In conclusion, the minerals deal between the U.S. and Ukraine is more than just an economic transaction. It's a pivotal moment that could alter the course of history, with far-reaching implications for global diplomacy, economic stability, and geopolitical power. Visual. Fade to a reflective background, setting the stage for the end titles. Voiceover. The world stands at a crossroads, and the decisions made now will determine the path forward. The intricate dance of diplomacy continues, with the world watching and waiting. This meeting could change everything. A minerals deal that became a diplomatic battleground. A foreign policy approach that could redefine global power. The question remains, will America's influence survive? As leaders from around the world gather, the stakes have never been higher. The outcome of these negotiations could shift alliances and alter the course of history. With every handshake and every signed document, the balance of power teeters. The world watches closely, waiting to see if this pivotal moment will mark a new era of cooperation or conflict. The future of international relations hangs in the balance.